Welcome to CRT episode 4. Glad to have it again. Oh, speaking of the introductions and how we want to present ourselves, though, what we were talking right before we started recording. Do you want to just be called your name, or should we call it Bragg, or what?
I have a decision to make.
Right.
I definitely want a moniker. I like Bragg. I like Dot. Both of them are derivative from my actual name.
Mm-hmm. Well, one's a derivative of a derivative.
That is true. I want to be Dot more. But
Okay.
Bragg feels like it fits better. And that's a sort of impasse that I've come at.
Right. Well, it could also, it's going to be paired up with me for the time being, so what sounds better off your ears, Trash Cannon Bragg or Trash Cannon Dot?
Bragg. That's the issue.
Well, I guess we got to go with that.
I'll take Bragg.
All right,
I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right, cool.
The number of E's, negotiable.
Yeah, it'll just be different for every podcast recording. I'll go back and change the descriptions on the other ones, and from here on forward, it'll just have a random number of E's.
Nice. I found that's just sort of how I've made the name on when I need to register a username for certain things. Instead of adding numbers to the end of Bragg, I just add more E's.
No, I have resorted to adding just different words. That's how I got MJ Business Town, because MJ was taken, or MJ Business was taken. So
MJ
Business
at Gmail. At least you checked. You know, would have been pretty dope.
Yeah,
it was free.
MJ Business Land Tycoon. I landed on Town. It was the least ridiculous.
Perfect. Well, welcome to CRT Cold Hard Trash with your hosts, Trash Cannon Bragg.
Officially.
Hit the applause track.
Oh, there's first thing I want to talk about is this guy Chaz Steele. Not really much about him other than I got an email from a guy who was just a reminder to set up my doctor's appointment, and the guy who was the sender of the email, because it was in the signature, it was Chaz Steele, whatever medical professional his title was. And I was just like, wow, what a bad career you chose, dude. You could have been an action movie just from name alone. Showing up to auditions, you would have found your name in so many different action movies or cartoons or whatever. That's so sweet.
Yeah, making a Stephen King thing where it's your name is just the biggest one on there. Simply because it's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
Stephen King, cool name.
He was a big guy.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers him as a famous author, but they can probably only remember the ones of his books that went into movies.
Yeah. I don't know if I've read any Stephen King. I watched It Part 1.
The new one?
Yeah, the newer ones. The first part.
I've never seen the newer ones.
It was pretty spooky. After watching that movie, I found out that supposedly in the book there is a child orgy. I am very glad that they just left it out. They didn't even approach that. Very good job, director.
In the book, it's I believe it's described as they realized that Pennywise is taking memories from them and whatnot, so they had this whole thing of all right, we're gonna give each other our first times, and that's gonna be something that we're gonna remember so dearly that he can't possibly take away type thing. So it's kind of brought upon. It's not I
don't like it.
Right. It doesn't go into detail. In the book, it's not it doesn't turn into a sex novel, but it's just one of those things where that is brought up, and then it's all right, and then that is done. Sort of deal. They move on.
Okay, that's.
Yeah,
I'm glad it wasn't a graphic description.
Right, yeah. It doesn't go Anne Frank on them where they describe it in detail. Anne Frank I did read. I had to read that for school.
And it's been a while for me. If I did have to, maybe I think I had to read parts of it, but not the whole thing. So, yeah. I also heard at the start of the second It movie, which I still want to see. The whole thing about It is that he sort of shows up every 30-something years. Mm-hmm. And then so they're okay, in 30 years, this is going to happen again, and we're all going to get together, and we're going to kick his ass and finish this for good. And apparently once the 30 years pass and everyone sort of starts getting their memories back of the whole situation, one of them just kills himself.
Oh, jeez.
Which is fair.
I don't remember, but that's pretty wild.
Considering all the crazy ass shit that happened in the first movie, I can't really blame the guy. like gigantic spider monster, like door directly to hell type shit underneath their hometown.
Right, seeing people die
again and again, like getting all those memories back. Yeah,
probably pretty rough. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot. I watched the first two like on VHS when I was way too young, so I remember like vague points from it, but that's pretty wild.
I also remember walking into my mom watching the movie 2012 in 2011.
Ooh.
I was freaked out for about it.
Thought she was a time traveler?
No. I just thought like, oh damn, like that's what's gonna happen.
That's guaranteed.
Gonna suck. I don't like that at all.
The world's gonna end, my man.
It's gonna be like an earthquake, and California's gonna be gone.
That Mayan calendar. Coming for us all.
Yeah. I've seen other. I saw this one other apocalypse movie called Knowing, where in the end the apocalypse just happens. Like they can't stop it. I mean, it's called Knowing, not preventing.
Oh yeah, isn't that the one where they try to get on the news and they're like, "Oh yeah, the comet's coming. You have to try to believe us," and everybody's like, "Ah." Anyway.
Maybe I just remember. I think it was Nicolas Cage going like crazy.
Is Jennifer Lawrence in that too?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's what I'm thinking of then.
Then like a handful of kids got abducted by aliens and given their own planet.
Whoa. That took a turn.
Well, I mean, yeah, like aliens are like sending down like information to specific people, and then they like write little numbers on the walls or whatever, and then Nicolas Cage finds them.
Huh.
And that's sort of their whole plan.
Didn't see that going for that way for that movie.
Yeah. One big thing we wanted to talk about though. Limited time items.
Yes.
I heard that they actually brought that guy back to life from Reddit.
Yeah, the guy that Domino's had killed.
Yeah.
They
said sorry.
Domino's has reneged on the fact that they only now release Brooklyn style pizza. Now the New York style is back for any type of pizza that you would like to consume, and the Brooklyn style pizza is nowhere to be found. We caught on. America caught on. They fought back. They spoke out. Domino's folded. Congratulations.
I want to thank all of our listeners for your support in this movement.
Yeah, it must have been absolutely rabid because it was only like a few days after we recorded we realized it was changed. It was wild.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the power of the internet, baby.
Yeah.
You know, you go out there, you make an announcement, and the whole world
they
moves
recognize
to meet your needs. Obviously,
they recognize. But on the subject of limited foods, we had another one that we tried today because Taco Bell did a whole like Xbox game reveal about it. They had like the guy on stage who was like, "Yeah, everybody, you ready for some Taco Bell?" and dropped the fact that they were putting a Cheez-It, a big Cheez-It, inside the Crunchwrap Supreme. And we actually have a picture of the big Cheez-It, especially compared to the regular Cheez-It. We'll put it up on screen now. It is... It's wild to see because it's literally just big Cheez-It. I mean, we didn't taste it, but I assume it's just got the same cracker kind of taste. Just Cheez-It.
Yeah, I remember like earlier today when I was going to pick it up for us. They have like the whole like video menu thing, and there's some parts of it for like ads and stuff like that. And one of the sections was like, we cracked the code of 16 times or something like that because it is a 16 times sized Cheez-It.
We cracked the code. Cheez-It in the Crunchwrap.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not too crazy, you know. Anybody could figure that part out. Figuring out how to make a Cheez-It 16 times, that's what their claim is. They say that's the important novel part of this technology.
Only with the powers of Taco Bell was Cheez-It able to pull this off. Taco Bell is holding this up, just like the Baja Blast. It is their crowning achievement.
No one else could do it.
They will stand upon these two pillars. It wasn't that great, though. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't any really different from a Crunchwrap Supreme. So it just wasn't really worth the hype, I feel.
Yeah, I mean...
Big Cheez-It was fun.
It's more like, you know, proof of concept. Like, what other crackers could we potentially make 16 times their original size?
What else can we put inside the Crunchwrap?
What uses would they have?
What other crackers could they put in there? They put like a big club cracker in the middle? Who cares?
Maybe a tortilla chip? You know, you just get like an order of nachos, but instead of cutting like a regular, like, you know, 4 or 5 inch tortilla, you cut like a 12 inch, 14 inch into 8 really big chips.
I see. So a tortilla in the middle of the Crunchwrap Supreme. Yeah, I see.
Well, not everything needs to go into a Crunchwrap, but everything
Oh,
we need to scale things up, you know.
I didn't know if you knew what you were saying or not. That caught me off guard. It's like, yes, the tortilla. The next chip. You just come full circle with it.
Yeah.
Do a Tostinos.
Actually, we got to stop recording. I got to go to the patent office real quick.
Oh, gotta go see
Putting
a
a tortilla chip in the middle of a Crunchwrap.
Let's just do a Tostinos matchup. It's just like we put the tortilla chips in the taco. Oh, that'd be so good.
I mean, because we've already established that they are listening to us, right?
Yeah.
We've got their attention.
Yeah.
Brooklyn-style pizza. So, I got to make sure that there's... the whole reason I'm talking about this is there's some type of record that I thought of at first.
Yeah, we gotta put it to paper. Put it out there. Let everybody know.
Crunchwrap in a Crunchwrap?
Now that would be interesting. Crunchwrapception? I feel like that's just sogception, though. Because it's already like you're dealing with the sog of the tortilla chip. Now you're dealing with a sog inside a sog. You're just dealing with a lot of wet. A lot of wet dog food. Which I'm down for dog food. Like, I eat Taco Bell all the time. So you just give me the wet dog food. I'm num. I eat that shit up. But yeah, that's too much dog food, I think.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was working at Taco Bell in high school, they had we got like the little things at the bottom of the receipt that's like, hey, tell us about what your experience is, whatever like that. I read them a lot because I actually did show up on there, decently often. And one of them was making a joke about us serving horse meat. I got a little upset because I'm like, it's not horse meat, it's just really, really low quality beef.
Yes.
The horse meat thing is in Europe. That's where you got to worry about it. I don't even know if it was Taco Bell, but like, I remember some fast food joints in Europe got in trouble for serving horse meat.
Oh, jeez.
And labeling it as beef. Which is the only real issue, is that they mislabeled it.
I see it, right, they mislabeled it. I remember Taco Bell literally had to relabel their beef at one point. Because it literally was like B33F in their commercials. Because it was like, for a little bit, because their beef quality, it was like kind of a scandal that it dropped below the amount of like, you have to have a certain percentage of beef per beef, or whatever, per pound of beef. And
it's low quality beef. I don't get angry about that at all.
And they dipped below the quality. So if you remember, the Taco Bell commercials were using B33F for a while. That was why. They just literally couldn't call it beef. They weren't legally allowed to.
That's good.
And darn right I still ate that B33F when I was still out. I ordered that B33F. It was delicious.
And you have American cheese, not like legally able to be sold as cheese.
It's a cheese product.
Yeah, it's a homogenized cheese product. That's why you buy Kraft singles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't buy Kraft American cheese. I mean, you could probably find something labeled as American cheese and like, it does meet the legal definition to be cheese. Yeah, probably, but like...
It's like the thing like Easy Cheese and Cheese Whiz. They use the Z in there just because like it's not actual cheese. It's just cheese adjacent.
Cheez-Its?
Cheez-Its too, yeah.
Oh, man.
They just have... It's not actual cheese. It's cheese powder, yeah. It's just cheese flavoring. It's not actual cheese. They're not grating cheese. In the commercials, they do have the wheel of cheese sitting there talking to you, but sorry to say... Break. No. They're not shaving off cheese.
He's a paid actor.
Yes.
In the most literal sense.
Sorry to say, that cheese wheel was a paid actor. He wasn't a real cheese wheel.
Oh, man.
It was actually just a guy with a tennis ball. No, the rest of it was CG'd.
Yeah, we gotta take them down. We gotta demand only real cheese wheel representatives. I don't give a fuck what they put in the cracker.
Yeah, no, we need real cheese on screen. We need to stand up for them.
Yeah.
Because they are voiceless. They can't speak for themselves, literally. We have to speak for them. We have to be their voice.
I will take up the mantle.
Cheese representation. Spread the word. So, were there other things, like, you had to do as a kid that you came around to as an adult of like, oh, that's actually really good? Because, like, sleeping and showering, like, I would stay up late as a kid. Like, man, I don't want to go to bed. Sleeping's for nerds. And, like, same with showering. Like, I would rather just games. I just, like, throw water on myself in the sink and be like, yeah, Mom, I showered. Don't worry.
That's
Just when I was, like, 10 years old, I didn't want to, like, stop gaming or stop playing. Like, I'd come in from playing and, like, you know, immediately, like, fake a shower just so I could have more time playing. Like, I didn't care. But nowadays, it's just like, man, I so much enjoy a shower. I look forward to it every day. Same with sleeping. I look forward to getting into my bed and going to sleep every night. It's so relaxing.
I feel that. I like a nice shower. I really need to take a bubble bath.
Oh, yeah?
Not like because I'm dirty, but because I need it for my soul. You know, it's very relaxing.
Yeah.
And I just shower all the time.
Yeah, it's nice to just sit and soak for a while. Just forget everything.
Become a raisin.
My parents have not only like a big bath that has jets in it to where like you can sit in it and lay out pretty easy, but right next to it they have like a stand-up shower that's like a quarter the size of a triangle shower, to where like they have the wall jets and everything on it too. It's just the most premier bathroom experience.
The shower
so
jets
nice.
is what makes it over the top. You know, it's like going through a car wash. At
I was
that
gonna
point.
say,
You just step in there, you turn on the water for 1 second, and all the grime is just instantly gone.
and no matter where you are in the shower, you get such like a big room. You're still getting sprayed with water. It's
No
not
escape.
like, yeah, there's no like cold spot where you're like, oh, I gotta go and get my shampoo, so I'm a little cold for a second before I get back. Nah, it's all water. It's all warm. And it's all steamy in there because it's like a big glass thing. So even the spots that aren't wet are still pretty hot. If you want to go take a seat out of the water, they got a little seat in there, like built into the shower. Oh, I love their shower. I can go on and on for days about that. I fucking love showering.
Do you have anything around your place or places that you lived where it's like, oh, that's like a really old, like, design, like, I guess like an old feature that was included in apartments and houses that isn't around anymore? Specifically, what comes to mind is the razor disposal.
Oh yeah,
Which is just
slot
a
in the
hole
wall.
in the wall.
Yeah, we have different telephone line connections that just aren't a thing anymore, like Cat 3 or Cat 2, whatever it was. Like we have one in the bathroom. I don't. Why did people need a phone in the bathroom? Like it was clearly always been a bathroom. Like it's where the toilet hookup is. Like nothing else has been there. So why do you need a phone just right on the wall in the bathroom? I don't get it.
Real answer, possibly privacy for a phone call, but I don't even like that answer.
I was gonna say, is that a thing? Like you needed a privacy so you could like take the phone call in your bathroom?
I don't know. Like that's the only benefit that I can see from having it in there, because it's gonna echo like shit.
Right?
You know.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. The main thing for me is just that little slot in the wall. I think it's so goofy. Like, what a solution. I've also seen a little vent in the bathroom that you can turn on. It's like supposed to be like a towel warmer or something, but my friend who had moved into that house called it a ball dryer. I mean,
you just stand over it and then spread eagle.
It sounds luxurious.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. You just get like a vent right by your bathroom, make sure the heat's on right when you get out. It'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, but no, this is a custom vent with a switch right next to it.
Oh, so it can go switch on and out?
Yeah, I mean, it is meant to like warm towels. Like that is the real reason.
Sure.
You set a towel next to it, on it, whatever, and you turn it on.
Put a towel rack over it and just drape them there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you go into the shower, you warm up the towel.
Right.
Cool, but
that is pretty luxury. It's like bidet levels. Like it's European levels of fancy. They got that shit figured out.
I don't understand the whole like having a separate bidet than a toilet thing. I think the whole ordering a $15 bidet off of Amazon and installing it onto your toilet makes the most sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you have a whole different head for that?
Some people are concerned with like cleanliness of like, oh, I'd prefer it to not to be the toilet water. I want it to be water, from my sink, and it's like the direct line from the sink to the thing as opposed to, switching from the toilet.
I mean, having to walk over there does not feel clean to me.
Oh, it's not like you're walking across the bathroom. I assume they're like right next to each other, so it's just like a pick up, sit down kind of deal.
Yeah, just do a little like lift and.
Right, and plus, the thing So I want to ask you: do you oftentimes shower right after taking a shit? Do you like make sure that lines up?
I do.
All right, that's what I figure most people do. So like I figure The bidet is really only for like the emergency situations where like, oh man, I had a bad shit. I already showered today, or I'm not gonna need to shower right now, and I need to just get this ass clean. I feel like a bidet is not an everyday type of thing. You just like when you're in the situation of I'm not about to shower right afterwards. Because if you're gonna shower, why you bidet in your ass? What's the point? You're about to go just wash your whole ass anyway. Just make sure you wipe real good. If you have to get it a little like extra fine, then just get the shower water in there. Bada bing.
Bada bing, bada bop.
See you next Tuesday. See you tomorrow for the shower. Don't shower once a week. I am not advocating that. That is bad.
I find I don't wash my hair very often, especially because I've had it dyed like quite a few times.
Sure.
Most of my growth now is, it's natural color, but I still have some previously dyed hair at the ends.
How often? I usually do mine
like
2-3 times a week. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. But it's just interesting because, like, I feel like my hair is healthier the less I wash it. When I was a child and I would shower, I would just use body wash in my hair, which was not good.
Yeah, probably not, but
It actually made it. I feel like it didn't make it any less oily because it's not meant to take oil out of hair,
right. I don't think it's even meant to like cling the hair. Whatever the chemicals in there are meant to like soak into hair for shampoo.
But your body does sort of compensate for these things a little bit. Like I'm pretty sure if you wash your hair like daily, your body starts producing more oil on your scalp.
Yeah, that makes sense because you're washing it off so much, so it's gonna have to keep regenerating that oil more often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel that a little bit with like since I've started using face wash, I'll find my face actually feels oily when I wouldn't really experience that as much before. I don't know if I'm crazy, but Okay, fine, I'm crazy. Is that what you want to hear?
Yeah, I have the exact opposite because my skin is just so absorbent with everything. Like, I'll step out of the shower and not even a minute later, my face will just be bone dry. Like, everything, my beard will be completely dry. Underneath, because all the water catches there, will still be a little damp. But immediately, like, it'll be bone dry a minute later.
Nice.
It's kind of nice, but
Shitty superpowers.
It immediately gets frizzy. Like, my hair, I'll be like brushing my hair while it's still sopping wet, like dripping water out of it. My beard is just frizzing up, like going straight outwards. It's just like, God damn it.
Did that pick up?
I think so. A little. Oh, that one definitely did. That was a spike. A little tiny one.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh.
I started cracking my neck in about like first or second grade.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was such a cool thing. I don't even know what like cartoon I saw. But like someone's about to get into a fight and like they crack their knuckles. And,
like
crack
get
their
ready
neck.
for it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. That like you just turn your head and it makes that like crackling sound. So I'd like walk around down the hallways, just sort of like
trying
my
to
head back and
intimidate
forth.
people.
I didn't even like
Start
want
fights.
to start a fight. I just wanted to have the cracking neck thing, and you know what? I got it. Like I don't even know if it did good for me at the end of the day, but it is a very nice release.
Yeah.
When I do it now.
Yeah. I just recently realized that I've been like fucking up my posture without really realizing it, because I thought like for a long time I had my chest like hung over my knees to where I was just kind of like bent over a little more. So the way I compensated for that, because I just didn't really realize, was just moving my head back and trying to keep my neck more straight. And for a long time, like right here was just so fucking tight, like right in the front of my neck. It was so tight, it just hurt so bad. I was cracking, stretching it every day. Then I realized if I just straighten my back, my neck doesn't have to do that. And I was just like, oh, great. I'm just a fucking idiot.
I guess that's
like
another thing from like, being a kid and you don't really want to do it, and then you grow up and you're like, oh yeah, this is just kind of better. Like slouching.
Yeah.
Like I still slouch sometimes. One of my favorite ways to like kick back is I'll like, I have a decently big desk chair, and I'll like sit down in it, and I'll like have it lean all the way back, and I'll put my feet up on top of my computer, and I'm like, basically in a lounge chair at that point, but less soft parts. But if I'm not doing that, I'm typically like sitting straight up.
Yeah.
It's just more comfortable than like sitting in another.
I was going to say, I try to like get myself set up, especially when I'm playing computer games, to where I have like almost my whole arm and everything set across to where like I basically have to sit straight up. Sitting anywhere else is like uncomfortable and makes me not able to reach the controls.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually like it gets a little stiff after a while, but then comparing that to like when I'm just sitting back and playing games on a controller for extended periods of time, where I'm like slouched on an arm or a little bit, it's definitely a better feeling. Because that like will pinch your neck, your shoulder, and everything. You'll be sitting at a weird angle. It's just no bueno.
Yeah. Well, I still like sitting weird.
Yeah.
Whenever I play the Nintendo Switch, I know a lot of people like, you know, the Pro Controller, and they like having like that little thing that you can slide the
you like wide
Joy-Cons into. Yeah, I specifically like leave my left arm out and take my right arm and put it over my head over here.
Interesting.
It's just a very comfortable position, and then I might switch that.
Huh.
And yeah, that's why I am really not a fan of when games have like completely controller-based control schemes, and then they're like, oh, well, there's like, you know, it detects movement, so we'll throw in like one or two things that you can do with, you know, by moving the entire controller as a gesture.
Right.
And it's the only way to do those things.
That's
and it's
dumb.
like, I'm not, like, I'd rather you just commit entirely to motion controls. I like entirely motion controls things.
Sure, if you can do it right.
But I also heard that a lot of people like using gyro controls for like Switch games. Splatoon supposedly is a lot. But I also heard that a lot of people like using gyro controls for like Switch games.
Right.
Splatoon supposedly is a lot easier with gyro controls. I've heard it compared to, it's like the closest that a controller can really get to a mouse's level of control is through gyro, but I don't really like it.
I was gonna say I feel
so
like part of
disconnected from what I'm trying
like
to
what
do.
I was saying, if it's done right, it's just that's
I'm just
really
not wired
exactly
like
what I'm
that.
talking
I could
about. Where it
probably
just needs to be able to
get used to
flow
it,
seamlessly
but
and make sense
I don't
while
have
you're doing it.
strong
Like
need.
that's what needs to be done for it to be done right. Otherwise, you're just struggling to try and make it connect in your brain the whole time you're playing. Right.
I like try and
Right,
move the
yeah,
stick
yeah.
to do my little aiming thing.
Yeah,
and then,
I
since I'm
don't
not
get
thinking
why
about
that
it,
was
I
a
might
weird.
move my hand a little
It's
bit,
really only
and that will mess
Nintendo, and I
up
guess
my little stick
PlayStation
aim.
probably had a few things too, but they
Because
just
it's
had that
also doing a
weird
little bit
mix
of
of like,
other
oh,
stuff.
sometimes we could do motion, but sometimes we're just going to use our controller. It's like, why? One way or the other, please.
Possibly the only situation where I actually appreciate it, you know, the very specific thing where possibly the only situation where I actually appreciate it, you know, the very specific thing where it's like mostly a controller and then you have like a couple like actual gestures is I guess there's two examples that I can say that I appreciate. One is that on they're both on PlayStation. In Bloodborne, instead of having like a gesture wheel or something like that, if you hold down a certain button,
Right, I was gonna
and
say,
you
it's
move
just-
your controller, like you can set up particular gestures for your emotes.
Yeah, it's just a fun little thing. It's something
So
you
you
can
don't
do,
need
but not
to,
something
like-
you need to do.
And like emotes don't really matter, you know. It's just kind of like a thing that you're doing, and if you mess it up, you just do it different. Like you just try again,
Yeah, it's just a fun little thing. It's something you can do, not something you gotta rock.
and it clears up UI space and stuff like that. So I like it. And in Death Stranding,
Right, a little
if the
incubation.
baby that you're carrying starts crying, you gotta rock the controller to calm it down. You like hit the button to like take it off of your like
What the hell?
whole
Why could you?
get up thing. You hold it in your hands
It's,
and then you
it's
gotta
such a weird,
rock the controller back
weird
and
game
forth.
mechanic.
The,
I get that it's supposed to be
built-in
like,
speaker
yeah,
in the
it's
controller, it
the
starts
real
making
life
crying
simulator.
noises.
You drink Monster and deliver the package, but I don't. That just seems strange. It just seems like an extra feature to that game that's, I guess, makes a whole lot of sense the more I think about it. I don't know why I'm saying why. That just seems strange. It just seems like an extra feature to that game. I guess makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, they're supposed to be fun. I don't know why I'm saying why.
Well, I mean, there is the whole question of like whether a game's supposed to be fun.
Well, pretty
Which I
very
would say
subjective.
for a majority of them, that's probably.
Yeah,
I
should
mean,
evoke something. And yeah, I guess that's
you
true.
know,
Like
does
the
all
Death
art
Stranding,
need to be
if the
pretty?
story was somewhat emotional, then good
it needs
too.
to be
I never
evocative.
played the game.
It doesn't need to be, but it should be evocative. Is what like.
Yeah.
There are like maybe similar mechanics and stuff like that, but
somewhat emotional. Then
you can drop a ladder. Well, it has things in it that are like literally not in any other game. There are like maybe similar mechanics and stuff like that, but you can drop a ladder or something to help you like get across a certain thing, and then that ladder will then show up in other players' games, and as they walk by, they can hit like on it.
Right.
And then you gather likes in the game from other players. It's another thing where it's kind of like, you probably should have been there on launch if you really wanted to interact with that part.
Right.
You can work to have a robot build a highway, so you can take your motorcycle on that for deliveries, and other people contribute to that. And
is it like drug mule
that
type
highway
people?
shows up in other people's worlds too. They're basically people that got so addicted. Some of the antagonists are mules. The people, but they're called mules. Sort of. They're basically people that got so addicted.
And that just gets them more likes?
To,
They get likes for that, even though they're
for
robbing
delivering
people,
packages,
literally?
that they'll rob other couriers and
world.
complete their deliveries for them. So they get the likes.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
That seems a strange thing to get.
Well,
like,
I mean, they delivered the
rewarded
package.
for.
The
Like,
other guy
if
didn't.
You
He
turn
couldn't even
that
fight off a
package,
mule.
like, wasn't someone else supposed to deliver this? Do you want the package or not? I guess. Yeah. Take your thumbs. Yeah. Right. You take your 5-star review and it's untouched. The package is fine. That's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Take your thumbs.
Tip and rate 5 stars.
Right. Take your 5-star review and it's untouched. The package is fine.
Yep.
I guess the A button challenge has been completed.
A button challenge on what game? No.
In other contemporary news, I guess, the A button challenge has been completed.
A button challenge on what game?
Mario 64.
No.
Beat without pressing A, even once.
All you gotta do is kick and dive, baby.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
And walk backwards for 16 hours to build up speed, so that you can.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a task.
No.
What?
A human did it.
A
finally.
human actually built up speed for 16 hours. Oh, geez. Sorry.
I mean, you
whack
kind
the
of
microphone.
You kind of just need to, set the controller to be in like a certain position, I believe. And also, 16 hours may be not correct, but in older iterations of the A button challenge that they've been trying, 16 hours.
That's nuts. It's just that's just why.
So
Why?
don't press A.
I mean, I guess, but like, I guess it's not the full 16 hours, but I know what you're talking about, where it takes a considerable amount of time to build up the speed to then travel through the QPUs or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The whole thing is that like Mario's forward speed is capped, his backward speed is not.
Right.
So
Like bee
walk
hopping.
backwards for however long, like consistently building up speed in a corner where you can't technically move, and then at some moment you flick the stick somewhere else or something like that, and you fly all the way into the star. It's beautiful.
That's really similar to like Half-Life 1 in the original Source engine. They had like the backwards bee hopping, because for the exact same reason, your backwards momentum wasn't capped, so if you jumped and then turned around while you had backwards momentum, you could just keep building it infinitely. You can just time your bunny hop jumps to where you're just flying through levels.
Perfect. Yeah. And in a lot of games that I would play when I was younger, I would always look. I guess I don't play like 3D platformers anymore, but I would always look for like the quickest way to traverse space.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the point of the games usually, yeah.
Well, I guess the game that comes to mind for me is Jak 2 and 3, which like they added guns from their initial platforming adventure in Jak 1. But you have this one move where you like do a little roll and then you jump forward. And then you can chain that into another one. So like everybody in this entire city is just kind of like walking like a normal person, and you are doing little flips and rolling forward and just making these little leaps to get around. It's just, I don't know, it feels silly to be the only one doing that.
Yeah, that's most speedrun strategies when you're doing like RPG games, like in Fallout, you're just jumping through different like towns and everything. Or in New Vegas, just like jumping, reloading, and flying.
I love how I don't really think we're gonna see much of that stuff with more recent releases due to patches.
Yeah. I would say you'll still find things though. Like there's always going to be before the patch kind of like things that happen where oh yeah we can institute flying via just doing these things and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a post the other day. It was like the best patch notes are always like made sure pandas don't explode when pet and things like that. Like removed Greg. Just random things, or it's just like that doesn't make any sense, but it's probably a great game.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but Oblivion, with how in the PS3 version, paintbrushes weren't affected by gravity, and so you set up enough, you collect enough of these paintbrushes, you can make a staircase up to a specific trigger that just wins the game.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. I figured it would just be like clipping out of walls and stuff, because I know that's really popular in those speed runs.
Yeah, no, it just you step on that all the way up to the tower in like the chapel district or whatever of the city, and you jump into the room where like the final cutscene or the final quest happens, and for some reason that method of entering that room triggers it.
Huh.
And you just win. It's really funny because there's a whole lot of people that like you haven't met yet. Come out and they like fight each other, and there's like a literal like Daedric Prince there, and there's Sean Bean or Sean Bean's son or whatever.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things like you just step out of a cutscene like partway through, like where was I? Loading up a save game you don't remember. Is there anything else that you could think of besides pickles and potatoes that just transform when things are done to them? Pickles or cucumbers when pickled become pickles. Potatoes when fried become fries. But anything else, that gets put through that process just becomes a pickled or fried version of whatever it was. What else transforms? Like
stir fry? But that's just the name of the dish.
I was gonna say that's just a dish name.
Multiple items.
You can put a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm just why those two as well? Why did only those two were like the first things they've realized you could fry and pickle, and that's why they just were like, oh yeah, that's just it. And then only later did they realize they could pickle other things.
I just think that can't be true at all.
Right, because pickling's a whole process. I figure like a lot of people have been pickling a lot of things for a long time.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, what's so special about the cucumber that it's like the de facto pickle?
That's what I'm saying. Why does it get to be the pickle? Whereas like, pickled carrot or pickled asparagus, they're both not too bad. What about those?
What? I guess a pickled cucumber doesn't really evoke a lot of cucumber to me. It kind of just tastes like the brine for the most part. But like if you eat a pickled egg, like you still taste egg.
Yeah. And the same with carrots and asparagus. You still taste what it is.
Yeah. I guess maybe you can't. You can taste the cucumber too, I guess, but maybe not like the really old pickle. Like, I guess really preserved pickles. Like a bread and butter pickle does not evoke healthy to me.
Yeah.
Does not evoke.
I feel like though, no matter what you pickle, the longer you pickle it, like even if it gets really old, you'll get like an old soft pickled carrot that'll basically just taste like the pickled brine because it's more pickle than carrot now.
It's obviously a conspiracy.
There's something like big cucumbers out there making sure that they are the one and only like pickle de facto.
Mm-hmm.
There's something afoot here. It's not right.
Yeah. And potatoes, like, well, we do call them fries. I feel like that's more of like something that happened over time, maybe, because
French fries. That.
French fries, then freedom fries, then French fries again.
Were the French the first ones to figure out how to fry potatoes?
I don't think they were. I don't think that actually had anything to do with them. I'm pretty sure. I think may have been British or something, British or American. I don't know. The form factor of a fried potato as a French fry just feels so American to me. But like I don't know if it's an American thing.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know, like, the British have their fish and chips as, like, a classic dish. So it's also, like, the French fry, basically.
Yeah. That feels British.
And they do call pickles gherkins over there. Sort of to deviate from that, so they don't have the de facto pickle. So maybe it's just an American conspiracy theory. Maybe it's just the government, being in cahoots with Big Cucumber.
Yeah. Big Cuke.
I don't like it. I don't like Big Cuke.
I've also noticed that, like, I've pickled pickles before.
Like
and
things that were already pickles?
No, pickled cucumbers before.
Double pickle? Like a double baked potato?
And the ones that at least the ones that I purchased, were Persian cucumbers because they were of the right size as a whole cucumber to put them into a jar. So maybe the Persians started the conspiracy? But then you're sort of taking their name out of the product. So why would they want that?
Well, maybe that's just to deviate from them. Maybe they're trying to hide. They put the pickle or the cucumber in there, and then they're like, all right, just call it a regular cucumber though, because we don't really want to be a part of this. It's going to be the pickle, but we're going to control it from the background. Our names aren't even going to be on it.
It's kind of like the olive oil mafia.
There's an olive oil mafia too.
Supposedly, like, a bunch of olive oil is like, not real.
Oh,
which,
shit.
like, I don't know if that's the same issue or that's an issue on top of my issue with a lot of olive oil. Is that you'll go to the store and you'll go to the oil section, and then you'll find something. It's like extra virgin olive oil, and, like, the middle of the label on the front of the bottle with a sunrise behind it, and in front of that sunrise, in, like, near white text with, like, a yellow outline, it says, like, sunflower oil with, and then extra virgin olive oil is in the bold, dark lettering just underneath that.
That's so skeevy. I kind of want to check my olive oil now.
Can we?
Yeah, we can check it after we record. I think it's Bertolli brand, one of the big ones. So
Bertolli's probably fine, but
that's fucking scary. That's skeevy. I hate that.
Yeah, and it's like, I also think that people don't really understand the purposes of different oils that much. Not to say that I'm an expert, but, like, extra virgin olive oil isn't really a cooking oil, and when you purchase,
it just means that nobody's had sex with it.
Yeah. Actually, so maybe it should be a burning oil or a cooking oil. Like burning a virgin or something like that.
Right.
It's extra virgin. So you definitely need to put it on the fire.
So you need to burn virgins? I don't know. I thought the whole point was, like, they're supposed to stay virgins. And you burn them when they're not, right? You burn them when they get defiled.
No, it's you need at least, I don't even know who on this earth actually practiced that, but, like, the lore as I understand it is that you would need a virgin to sacrifice a virgin. If they had sex, then they would actually be free from the sacrifice. But I don't know, something else bad would probably happen to them. Now they don't have a sacrifice; they're gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did forget about that whole, like, kind of a lot of older cultures had the sacrifice a virgin part of things. I don't even know if it was a real thing in culture, but I know it's a thing in, like, movies and, like, ancient cult cultures, or ancient cult things in movies, rather. Yeah,
I definitely seen it. I mean, I haven't looked into the actual history of it, so it feels like I don't know who I would attribute it to. A lot of the witch burnings of people, that was just sort of like 'cause you could. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you remember the classic thing of, like, you tie a cinder block to them and you throw them into the water.
Yeah.
If they sink to the bottom and die, they weren't a witch. If they survived, they must have been a witch. So we got to kill them.
Yep. It's the easy way to get rid of somebody you don't like, especially in Puritan America, when before there was big rule of law and whatnot. It's a real easy way to throw power around. There also might have been LSD bread at play, but who knows?
LSD bread?
Yeah, you haven't heard about that?
Nope.
Apparently there's I forget what the name of the scientist is, but, like, someone who looked at core samples of the Earth and found that, like, there was some sort of frost that went on, like, that might have been affecting the wheat that they were growing around that time in America. And when that happens, I guess mold can grow on that wheat, and when you bake it, it ends up giving, like, an effect very similar to LSD. I forget what the mold is, but that was They obviously they can't know for sure, but they thought like, well, putting 2 and 2 together, that might have played right around the time where they were going crazy and being like, definitely a witch, woo, burner, and they were having parties about it and shit.
Wild.
Yeah, who knows? But it's just kind of a cool thing of like, oh, they might have, like, especially when they were just stupid farmers, like, yeah, we know what we're doing. Before they actually kind of got farming practices widespread, they might have ate some moldy wheat. Possible. I believe it. I really want to build the Krusty Krab in Minecraft. That's my mission.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I've had like a real want or a need to do that.
I've been playing Minecraft with Ian recently.
Oh yeah?
He has a mod pack that we're playing on, and then he like gets, I don't know exactly how he hosts a server, but he hosts a server. And then yeah, it's got like Pokemon in it.
Oh.
That's kind of the only thing that I really noticed because I don't play Minecraft that often. I don't really know what's vanilla and not.
Right, yeah.
At this point.
Same.
And there's a lot of other animals that are not vanilla that are in there. There's like different varieties of birds.
Yeah, I love that mod. All the birds. It's so fun.
Just a giraffe. Like there's giraffe Pokemon. There's bird Pokemon, but there's also just giraffes and birds.
Just regular giraffes and birds.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. That'd be kind of cool. I've wanted to get back into like a serious Minecraft playthrough. If Ian's open that up to, or willing to open that up to different people, it'd be fun to play on.
You'd probably ask.
Yeah, a whole like Pokemon server.
I was putting together my team and all that stuff. I mean, you just kind of like send them out against other Pokemon. I don't know if there's like supposed to be actual trainer battles or something in the game, but you can like
I'm pretty sure
you can do battles against each other. That's for certain.
I'm pretty sure I've seen there's like gyms and stuff there too. You like go and you can fight different people in the gym, and then the gym leader, and you get badges, and it becomes a whole thing of like your Pokemon. If they get too high level, they'll stop listening to you unless you get gym badges. You actually have to.
Yeah, I always think it's funny when like just very like directly like, oh, that's just a mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Like, but then we put it in Minecraft too.
Pretty cool.
The fact that they still have trade evolutions in it is also funny.
Yeah, you have to put them through the trade machine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like you get to make Pokeballs in that too. I don't know if you ever got around to that, but you like get acorns and you actually make them like you do in the game. You drop the acorns off to whoever it is.
Well, in Legends Arceus, you do just straight up make them. You get a crafting kit, and then you collect apricorns, which are like the little fruit things that they use to make them, and then you get tumblestones. You put them together, and it makes a Pokeball. That's also the game where they like just sort of dropped it out of nowhere in the beginning, like. So the way that Pokeballs work is that Pokemon are capable of shrinking to a very small size.
Just at will.
At will, yeah. So I guess it's also an explanation for Poppin', like very genius, like I guess lore to put into a video game.
But the whole thing is like the Pokeball opens up and shoots him with a laser. Why not make it like the fact that like, oh yeah, we have a shrink ray basically. We've made that technology. That makes a lot more sense. It, like,
I don't know. That doesn't explain why they like willingly go in there.
Right, especially after you beat the shit out of them. Why are they not, as soon as they get out, like, hey, asshole, remember when you kicked the shit out of me?
Well, also, I guess Pokemon do just enjoy sparring quite a bit. Like, they actually like it. I mean, like literal God in that game sends you back in time and is like, you gotta catch every single Pokemon, including me. Like... And I created all this shit, so like you know it's okay to do this because I'm God.
What the hell does that even mean?
It kind of answers a lot of ethical questions in the game. Like, literal God is a Pokemon, and he wants to be caught and hang out. Like,
and just be like, go to the Elite Four and do this different shit. Like, what? What are you talking about?
It's his world. We're just living in it.
Yeah, I guess he's not wrong. He can't be.
Yeah.
That's and you gotta catch me too. It's like the video games. Like the first mission is just like, oh yeah, go and collect this plant, and the last mission is fight God.
Yep. You always gotta raise the stakes.
Stakes are on the moon at that point. They're above the moon. They're in the fucking heavens.
Yeah. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, you don't kill God exactly, but
Sephiroth.
You kill... Well, in the remake, it's only the first portion of the game.
Oh.
It's only while you're getting through Midgar, and then like at the end of the Midgar section of the original game is when the remake ends, because they just have so much more content
Oh,
for those areas.
I didn't know that.
Some people argue that it's padding, but I like it. But there's these ghosts, and they're like fate ghosts or whatever, and they're like trying to keep you on the story of the original Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the game, you kill those ghosts, and then you fight Sephiroth, and then you like beat him, but like it doesn't really matter for some reason. I don't understand it entirely. Feels a little jump to the shark, you know?
Right.
Like,
Why didn't they just remake it, like, just straight remastered? Make it a better version of the game you already had.
Well, this is the guy that made Kingdom Hearts, and, you know, he goes wacky with that shit, Tetsuya Nomura. But also, like, I feel like just a straight remake isn't as interesting a lot of the times. Like, it's cool that the director of the game wanted to make a statement sort of about the nature of remakes
Right.
in the first place. I just think the boss fight was a bit much, and Sephiroth shouldn't have showed up. Like, you shouldn't have been able to fight Sephiroth until the third game.
I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be the final boss, so that would only make sense.
Yeah. But I think it's cool, you know, to remake things and to change them and stuff like that, because you could always just re-release the original. I mean, the Thousand Year Door one's really good, and that is pretty much just like a direct, you know, recreation. They have a couple of differences. They added, like, they cut down on the backtracking a lot. They made it much easier to access, like, the warp zone.
That's cool. Yeah, the tunnels underneath Rogueport.
Yeah. There's now just a pipe in the middle of Rogueport that brings you directly to that room.
Oh, cool.
That has all the pipes in it that takes you to all the zones that you've been to.
Right.
It's very convenient. And they properly localized Vivian
So now,
as a trans character.
nice. So now it's actually a he, or actually a she, rather?
Yeah. Well, in the original English, she would just get called ugly.
Right.
And that's the nature of the bullying
Oh,
that she
and
got from her sisters.
And she actually gets bullied because she's not a real woman now?
They don't say that explicitly, but they make it known that she is trans, and her sisters like constantly calling her ugly and avoiding calling them the 3 shadow sirens, because sirens are women.
Right.
So, I don't know. There's a lot of layers to it, but I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Because that was sort of in the original Japanese. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos way before the remake was coming out.
I was going to say, yeah, the different translations. That was always a famous one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's really cool. And, like, the gameplay, everything like that is just pretty much completely faithful to the original.
It didn't need to be changed. So I
Yeah,
hope
it's
we did.
good. Like, RPG combat, but you gotta press A when you hit them with the hammer to do bonus damage. Genius. Like, it's just a little bit more engaging than just hitting the button and deciding that that's the action that your character's going to take. You need to perform it.
Right.
And
you need
so
to do
keeps
it a
you
little better.
involved.
Critical hit. Multi-bouncing someone to death.
Yep. They, I guess that's another change they made, was that they changed the frame windows for multi-bounce. Because multi-bounce is the one that's supposed to let you go infinite.
Right.
So they changed the frame windows. The fourth one is only a single frame, and then it loosens up again, and then, like, at certain frequencies they'll set it to be only a single frame window.
Interesting.
So it's a little bit less easy to cheese, but, like, if you're willing to put in the time to really figure out how to do that, you can still do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, it's also kind of like 2 frames because the game runs at 30 and the original was in 60. So, relative speaking, amount of time.
Why is the new one running 30?
Eh,
What
I
the
don't
fuck,
know
Nintendo
how many
Switch?
60 FPS games are actually on the Switch. I never mind 30 FPS. There's very few games that I actually mind 30 FPS. Bloodborne, probably online shooters.
Let's say anything that requires reaction time, like fucking Mario RPG.
Well, I mean, if
like Smash Brothers.
If the windows are the same amount of actual time, like, what's the difference? You still have the same amount of time to hit the button. You get the same visual information on how close you are, except, I guess, at a lower frame rate.
Yeah, I guess. It's just annoying. I mean, I shouldn't really expect it because the Switch isn't like, a powerful video game console type deal. It's Nintendo's thing.
I have my crackpot theories. The next Nintendo console has been... Nintendo stated that they're going to announce the next Nintendo console, a successor to the Switch, this year.
Huh.
And I think they just gotta do the Wii U again. I think the Wii U, you start out with the console and you try to sell everybody a new console with like a little add-on thing that everyone thinks is just like an add-on. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm aware.
Gamepad.
What should have been the Switch?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't get the idea for the Switch until they did that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the next console should be literally just the Wii U again, but now everybody owns gamepads. Like, Nintendo doesn't necessarily want to deprecate their most popular system.
Right.
And I don't think that they should. They're probably going to continue to come out with Nintendo Switch software because they have such a large install base. Like, it's so much easier to sell to them.
I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't gone the way of cloud-based gaming, especially
They
for
did.
something like the Switch. Well, they have for like their classic titles and whatnot, but I'm surprised they haven't done like a lot of third-party titles for cloud-based gaming. Like
Square Enix and them have done a lot of third-party titles. They have if you're playing any Kingdom Hearts game on the Switch, that is being fed over cloud.
No. Okay.
Nier Automata, published by Square Enix, also
was on the
over
Switch.
the cloud.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
I think it's over the cloud. There's a bunch of games that I'm pretty sure are on the cloud, and I always know that I get one of them wrong, and I'm like, what the fuck? This one isn't on the cloud? Like,
Right.
all these other things are, but this isn't?
Switch is notorious for just being hard to port to, especially newer like generation games. That'd be a good way to go, especially they just make like a cloud-based machine where it's just like you can play any game you want now, and then you could take it on your Switch too. The Switch is basically just like a big memory card that's made to connect to your thing.
And they don't got the Google, what's it called anymore? You know what I'm talking about? The Google video game cloud console?
Garrett was working for that. What was it called? Stadia.
Yes. Stadia is done for.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I think the Switch can definitely fill its spot.
Yeah.
Because now that entire... I mean, I guess then you're sort of competing with subscription services.
And the only place that I could see having a valid reason or like motive to do a subscription service, because they're already doing one, Nintendo. They have this incredible backlog of games that people would be willing to pay just to have access to, because even being able to play them, like even I have a Super Nintendo and all these different ways to play old video games, it's still a bit of a hassle to go out and play them. I like going through the hassle myself, but I'm sure some people would much prefer just having the game right there in their Switch, being able to just go to one place and have their library of games.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Super Mario World on the Switch using that, Super Nintendo emulator. It holds up. I mean, I didn't get crazy far in it, but the gameplay, it still feels very smooth to control.
Yeah.
The game tells you what you need to know.
It's not a big game to stream. None of those games are. They're literally all less than a megabyte.
Yeah.
So it's to stream that game is almost no computing power, no server space it would require. The entire thing, with the entire library, can probably just be a gig or two.
Yeah. And the whole reason that I played it was because Nintendo will do these things with certain games where you need to play them a little bit to unlock new icons for your profile, like icons, backgrounds, borders.
Okay.
For your Switch profile. And I really wanted a Wiggler on my Switch profile. So I played a little bit of Mario Brothers, Super Mario World, and I got the Wiggler, and I popped them right in there.
Nice. That's cool. You get rewards for playing the games, too. I didn't know that.
It's also nice because it's not something with actual value.
Right.
It's just an icon that you
aesthetic.
get to throw in your profile,
Yeah, let people know when they look at your Switch profile, I play this game, and I like it.
Yeah, instead of having to spend 40 cents on a little picture of a dude to throw on there, if you play the game that it's from, here you go, you get to use it.
Yeah, you're already paying for the game, basically, so
Yeah, but if you didn't get the game, you don't get the icons. You gotta ask your friend to borrow or something like that.
Well, we're about at the hour mark, so you want to wrap it up?
I'll see if we can push this one a little bit further.
Yeah, all right. Then we'll cut out the fact that I even mentioned we were at the hour mark.
Well, since we're cutting stuff out, I kind of want to... After the fact, I kind of don't know if I want to bring up the whole it thing, the whole child orgy. You know, I don't think it's a great idea to just even have the words child orgy come out of my mouth and be published.
Well, I mean, like, it's the only way you would be able to reference that is in the fact that you don't like it and in a popular piece of media. Because, what else?
I agree.
And it's a popular thing that people were saying, like, oh, I'm glad they didn't do this thing because it was in the book. And then we took the time to explain that what it was in the book. I think it's okay to leave in.
Okay, that's fine.
And plus, we talked about this now, so we got to leave this in, too. We did everything we could. We're not going to promote child orgies in any way. We're not saying
we did everything we could, including continuing to put that out.
Including continuing to say it over and over. Don't go diddling kids. Gotta be older than my daughter. Gotta be big. No one little. The fastest way to make someone think you diddle kids is to write a song about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Drake.
I was expecting that.
I never messed with Millie Bobby Brown. Who brought up Millie Bobby Brown?
I was gonna say, who said
Kendrick
that
didn't.
name?
I still like my main position on the whole like Kendrick and Drake beef is that obviously Drake lost, but Kendrick never called him a pedophile.
Yeah, no.
He's gotten very close. He said you hang out with pedophiles.
He said you hit that
He
note
said
and
you
it's
give
probably
pedophiles money. He said you invite underage people to hang out with pedophiles.
you hit that note and it's probably a minor.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest it was. That was the line that everybody was yelling at the clubs. I saw a lot of videos of.
Well, he also said him and Weinstein should get fucked up in the cell for the rest of their lives. So, like, he gets really close, but he doesn't say it directly. He more is just sort of saying, like, everything you do is suspicious. We have nothing to believe in, like, what you were saying, all that stuff.
Speaking of Weinstein, do you hear his charges got overturned?
No. Damn.
It's an overturned conviction. I don't know exactly
Is it like
why.
a single charge or something like that?
I think it's like one of the states he's getting, overturned. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, he's still got a lot of other charges, but it might also set a precedent, so people are pretty darn scared. Yeah, I'm not following the whole timeline of that thing. But it was, I guess, in some state overturned. So that's fun.
Yeah.
That could be a developing thing that I'm definitely not going to pay attention to and just roll my eyes at for the next year.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Bill Cosby's not getting out.
Nah.
Pretty sure they asked and they were like, no.
Well, it might be one of those things. I thought he might have already been out actually, because I thought it was one of those things where he was just like so old that they were like, it's not even worth putting you in prison, sort of deal. Or it's just like you can't even like comprehend what's going on, and you need so much daily medical care that it's literally like it would be more expensive to put you in prison than it would for you to just spend your own money out there.
Yeah, but like everything about prison's too expensive, I feel.
Yeah,
we spend way too much money
it's
on
a business.
incarceration.
Yeah, I mean they make money on incarceration too, though. Is the whole thing. That's
Yeah,
why
so
they want to
what
spend
makes,
money on it.
What makes these specific people exceptions? That's the question I want
I
to ask.
think age is really the only thing they make an exception for. It's not like a Bill Cosby thing. It's like, because I remember I watched that documentary, The Staircase it was called, where like that guy got accused of killing his wife, pushing her on the staircase, but it turned out an owl did it. It's like an owl just like struck her on the head, and it's like a really common thing apparently. Owl strikes, and she just happened to be a little tipsy, left the window open, and they found like feathers, claw marks in her hair. You got found not guilty after a long time of being found guilty, but. Cosby was released in 2021.
Oh, damn it.
Because he was... Oh, wait a minute. When the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court overturned his conviction... Whoa, shit, everybody's getting out.
Damn it.
What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? Anyway, what I was saying about the staircase was they went because the trial took so long and he was so sure of his innocence. They were eventually just trying to enter what they called an Alford guilty plea, which I guess is a specific thing of like, yeah, I'm guilty, but I'm also so damn old that please don't put me in prison because what the fuck's the point? What am I gonna do? I literally cannot, I can barely lift my arms. It's a struggle, so please, what? And it's basically just throwing yourself at the mercy of the court, I assume, but it's a thing people can do. It's not just for celebrities.
Yeah, I don't know, just avoiding punishment. I don't like that reason. I don't like that reason at all.
Yeah. I mean, especially for someone who's like a public figure and like that's probably like the stain of like they were found guilty is probably just as bad for their image as actually, I don't know. And one way I agree with you, but in another way, like putting a 95-year-old person behind bars for the last 2 years of their life is just kind of like, what's the point?
To make a point.
Yeah, true.
You know, like...
Yeah, I feel bad.
Instead, the opposite point has been made.
Right. And in the case of the staircase, it was literally that guy was innocent, so he's just like, why? I really don't want to spend... Because that's the whole thing of like, if they are professing their innocence, then... I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. I guess you're right. You really shouldn't feel sorry for anybody who's a criminal just because they're old and feeble.
Yeah. I also remember watching, like, part of The Irishman, the ending of The Irishman, where he pretty much got away with it. The only reason that, like, we know, like, he did apparently confess, like, on his deathbed, but, like, even when it was, like, look, you're, like, really, really old and, like, probably not going to go to jail for this. Did you do it? He said no.
I was gonna say that's at that. I think it's like the De Niro moment too, of like they ask him like everybody even involved in it besides you is dead. Like even if you give us the names, like what can we do with them? You know, we just want to know. And he's just like, no. He gets to take that with him. That's what his whole thing is. He's true to himself. No one else.
Yeah, but then you're kind of, I don't know, the idea of living a lie for that long.
But that's the thing, is it's to him it's not the lie, it's the truth. That's the kind of the whole, I think, not message of the movie, but one of the messages of the movie is that like he does that for so long that he kind of like distances himself from it, of just like immediately after pulling the trigger and throwing the gun, he's just like, yeah, well, I didn't do that. It wasn't me. And he legitimately believes that. He has to, or else he wouldn't have been able to do that over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's this whole thing of like they ask him and he just smiles like, no. And I feel good about no. Like I'm happy to be, no, I didn't do that. I can believe that I didn't do it. It's sad, but I guess for an old man, it's better for him to just live in that ignorance than accept the truth.
Yeah. Wow. It just seems so insane to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just being a hired killer for the mob is fucking insane.
Of course, yeah. Like,
that would be nuts.
I guess it is different from normal people's living a lie issues.
You got to play the game Mafia 1, especially the remaster they did of it. Holy shit. It was a PS1 game that was crazy ahead of its time, like a GTA, not even clone, because GTA hadn't been third person yet. Mm-hmm. Like they have speed limits in that game to where like cops will pull you over for like if you crash your car, if you're going too fast.
Do you have to do the traffic stop?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or else you'll get a wanted level and the cops will start coming after you. And the traffic stop is just you pull over, and like back in the day it was paying fines, so you're just like, it didn't happen, officer, and like that whole thing. But if you're on a timed mission, you only got like 20 seconds left, you're like, I guess I gotta beat the cops out. Shit. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. And it has the same kind of like vibe of The Irishman, where you start off as just like, oh, I'm just a cab driver, and get mixed up in the mob somehow, and it's super, super good. If you can watch like the game movie on YouTube, where someone just puts like together really succinct gameplay and cuts out a lot of the fluff when they're playing, and it's like 5 hours long. So it's like 4 hours of cutscenes. It's like a whole fucking Godfather movie. It's so good.
What did that get me thinking of? Traffic stop. Getting pulled over. Paying, saying it hadn't happened, officer. Skyrim, once you become Thane, and I haven't really tested the limits of this, but I'm pretty sure once you become Thane, you get one, make it go away, in that like hold or like district. In
right,
Skyrim.
like, oh, sorry, must have seen that because he takes the gold. Yeah.
Well, no, you can be like, I'm the Thane, and
oh,
please, I'm at, like, look the other way.
Yeah,
on this
use
one.
your reputation. Gotcha.
Can you just like? I feel like I saved scummed and did like a lot of bad shit with that, and then at the end just been like, dude, I'm the Thane. Like, just look the other way. Who gives a shit that I killed, like, the inn owner and, like, every single patron in there? I'm the Thane. You gotta give me at least one, man. Come on. We all make mistakes.
Everybody gets one, right? Come on.
Come
You're
on.
gonna give one to the Thane.
Like, other people come around, you know, like...
People are replaceable, man. The
Yeah.
Thane, one and only.
Yeah. Come on, you gonna let that chair in the throne room get cold? Like, two to the left of the dude? Think of the political turmoil we'll be in if you put me to jail.
That makes me think of you ever heard of the game Kingdom Come Deliverance? The second one actually just got announced at the Xbox Games Fest.
I've heard the name. I know nothing about it.
It's basically just from what I've seen, super Skyrim, to where like the combat is crazy in depth, like for Honor Plus levels, to where like you're able to move and counter and swing yourself, even for unarmed combat, let alone sword and shield. There's like permadeath, which is the same thing in like Skyrim. You just go back to your last save or whatever. But the way you fail missions is just like, oh yeah, if you fail a speech check, you get thrown in jail, and if you get thrown in jail before a certain part in the game, you die in jail. Game over. Your town gets raided, and then like nobody frees the jail. Nobody remembers to let you out, so
well.
you just die. It's like, oh, it was just like a petty offense I got thrown in for, but you got thrown in too early, so it doesn't matter even if you can't talk your way out.
That also got me thinking about this old like Revolutionary War book that I remember reading back in high school. Where like this guy, like, you know, you're sort of following like this kid who lives on a farm with his family and stuff like that as the Revolutionary War is going on. He's not really a participant at all.
Right.
He just kind of like is trying to live his life while like, you know, some crazy shit's happening. His
Yeah.
dad goes missing at one point, and at the end you sort of find out like, oh, he ended up like they're all like they support the revolution, you know, like that's the side that they're on. And then apparently this guy's dad died on a revolutionary ship as a prisoner, like, because he goes missing like maybe halfway through the book, and then you find that out like near the end. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
how did that happen? What? Yeah, no, game over. I think it wasn't a real story.
Yeah, I'm just now realizing too that I don't think I started recording the video.
That's fine.
Yeah, looks like we're just gonna have video for the 4th episode.
Yeah. What is it, the 4th?
Or the 5th episode.
The 5th episode special.
Yeah, that's the special thing we're gonna do. We're actually gonna show up on camera instead of just looking at ourselves
Yeah.
like doofuses.
Well,
I think that's about time to wrap it up then, so we can actually just fix that.
tune in next week for HRT's very special. Wait, no shit. CRT's very special episode.
HRT for hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to CRT, Cold Hard Trash.
Tune in next week for a very special 5th
A
episode.
very special 5th episode where we will show up on camera. Our episodes are premiering every Tuesday at 7 a.m. on Spotify, Amazon, probably Apple, also YouTube, anywhere you might find podcasts. Even though we don't have the video yet, you can still find the podcast on YouTube. It'll just probably be a static image. Zowie.